I don't know how, though. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because, because some of the parents. Actually, I'm really thrilled that you're taking this so seriously, because I was kind of worried that there's so many competing interests at ISV that I was worried that this would kind of go unnoticed. So I'm already like very, very happy that you're all here. So Vanchakalpa Chubisha Kripasindavyeva Chapati Tanam Pavaneva Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Let me begin by saying I have a little bit of background with children in ISKCON, because I was for many years a teacher for the little ones. In Los Angeles, I ran the nursery school for quite a few years, and it was during a baby boom. We had at least 35 or 40 children in the nursery school. This is preschool, before age 5. And then after that, we had classrooms. We had, in the apartment buildings in Los Angeles, we had, I believe, 4 classrooms. And those were just for the kids that didn't go to the ashrams. We had a lot of children in Los Angeles. So a lot of the parents became full-time teachers in the ashrams, and I stayed and was a day school teacher for the little ones. I taught beginning reading and Bhagavad Gita shlokas and things like that. Anyway, that's just to give a little history. But Krishna's blessing us with so many children coming. So many new members of Team ISV are coming. And it gives us a really big responsibility. And it's also conflicting for us. And I know this, raising my own kids. And the conflict is, when you come to the temple, you kind of want to break from the household stuff, and you want to be able to absorb yourself in some kind of hearing and chanting and whatever service you decide to do at the temple. So, what to do with the kids? Because as Srila Prabhupada told us, the more rascal, the more intelligent. And we have really intelligent kids. So, we're blessed with that. So we have this nice Sunday school, and the Sunday school teachers are amazing. They're, it's a hard service. It's kind of a thankless service. It doesn't get a lot of notoriety. I know that from in Los Angeles. The daycare and the school was always the kind of last thing to get facilities and notice. We had to do our own thing, even in a big temple like at Los Angeles. But what we learned is that ultimately, when Srila Prabhupada set up his temples, the main focus of the temples was book distribution, and even more important than the deity worship, actually. I mean, if you look at Srila Prabhupada, what he did when he came here, he wrote books. He emphasized distributing those books. He also encouraged the deity worship, absolutely. But that's how important book distribution was. So all the other projects always seem to take, second place to that. But as we can see here, the children grow really quickly, and they learn actually by osmosis how to be devotees. They kind of just soak it up without direct, there is direct training going on, but I guess what I mean to say is they learn more by osmosis than they do by that. You can tell them so many things, but I think that children more learn how to behave by what they see going on around them, by their parents' behavior. So our goal is for the kids, for them to also not just be cared for or kind of kept out of the way while we're engaging, but for them to also be engaging. So how do children engage in Krishna consciousness? Well, if you think about their duty, they don't have much yet because they're kids. But they do have one, and that is to honor their parents. So that's kind of their first responsibility is to honor their parents. They also have great memory capacity, right? We're teaching them all these shlokas because we know from science tells us that all the neurons and things in their firing in their little brains, kids can learn like 4 or 5 languages. They can just learn a lot when they're little growing. So there's that. So our Sunday school teachers are working really hard to improve and increase the curriculum and to organize it in such a way so that the kids can actually progress in their learning of the philosophy, similar to the way the public school systems or the school systems are set up. You know, it's an organized fashion. They go from the alphabet on up to college prep. So the Sunday school teachers are working on that. But it takes, as I believe it was Hillary Clinton so expertly put a couple of years ago, it takes a village. And what we have at this temple, which I think every one of my God brothers and God sisters here have said over and over again on these occasions, like on Prabhupada's appearance day when we all talk a little bit. Every one of us are always mentioning over and over again how grateful we are about the heart of this community. This community is a very caring, loving, interactive, reciprocating congregation. We're a family. We're really a family. And people that come to visit ISV notice that. It's kind of sets us apart. I think we feel like that more than a lot of ISKCON temples. So that's a gift that we have at this temple, and we can use that to our advantage to help with the kids. Okay, so we're moving into this beautiful new facility, and we're dedicating 2 rooms to be classrooms. We actually have 3 rooms that are rooms that can be used as, one of them will be our temple office, and 2 of them will be classrooms. But in my mind, even the temple office could also be used for kids at some point, or along with temple office, because we do not have a really big admin presence in our temple. So we're dedicating quite a bit of space to facilitate the teachers in developing their programs. But what I was thinking about and noticing from past, from our time here, and also from our few programs that we held at the new place, is for some reason when the kids get together, their energy just builds and builds and builds and builds and builds, and they get very, very excited, and a little bit hard to calm down. So I began thinking about that and about how to keep the kids happy, keep them wanting to come, and getting them to calm down. You know, it's like it's a delicate thing. You don't want to be so strict that they just lose their taste and it becomes, oh, I don't want to go there, right? To where, but you do want to have the kids, especially because for their own safety. Now, myself at this temple, I've actually, a part of me has always been quite worried that one of the kids could get hurt, because you all know how small our kitchen is. There's all this flame. There's all these wobbly walks in the doorway. I mean, they fry right in front of the doorway, right, in the back doorway, and the kids are whizzing by. The parking lot. I know I drive a Jeep. I can't see them when they're behind me and they're running around. So they've actually got guardian angels, if you ask me, because so much of this happens all the time. And I think that if anything bad were to happen, then we'd all like wake up, like, whoa. But it is a little scary. If someone, for instance, from say a health department or such were to come and see that situation, it would be like the doors are shut, I mean, that's kind of. So now we're moving to this new facility. And we know from, if any of you have ever tried to change a behavior, like an eating habit or something, sometimes it's really good to change almost completely to give you a fresh start. So I think that moving to this new property is an advantage in being able to accomplish the kind of behavior we want for the children, because it's a fresh start. So we can, what I'm hoping to accomplish is that together we could come up with gentle rules and regulations to keep the kids safe and in a devotional mood. And when I say a devotional mood, what I'm thinking is, if the kids want to do something like run and jump and climb, and they think, Krishna wouldn't like it, I won't do that. It's devotional service. So if we can impress upon them the proper way to behave at the temple, and that can make a difference, then they're actually starting to worship the deities. They really are. It's not, they're actually starting to sacrifice their own, senses in serving Krishna. And that will give them more of a taste for devotional service. So it helps on all levels. Besides helping keep the sound vibration a little mellow and keeping them safe, it's also their devotion. So one thing to talk about is, I can kind of give you the lay of the land at the new property. The kitchen will be almost even more dangerous than this one, because the equipment is going to be bigger, more powerful. It's instead of it being a pot that holds 5 gallons, it's going to hold 35 gallons. We're going to have bigger equipment in there, and what I'm considering is that we would put one idea that I had is to put, instead of putting a kitchen door, a full closing door, maybe put a Dutch door. You know what a Dutch door? A Dutch door splits in half. You can open the top, keep the bottom closed. So that way, if somebody's parent is in the kitchen and they want to talk to them or something, they can walk up to the door but not go into the kitchen. So I think that here it's a little hard to restrict them, because there's no place for them to go. But in the new temple, they'll have their own rooms and they'll have some more space. So that was one thing, that the kitchen and the pujari room will be off limits to the kids. Another thing is to increase the amount of activity that they have over there. And one idea that the Sukeshri Mataji was telling me, and the teachers, that we've been talking about for quite some time, is being able to feed the kids before we eat. I think that's also a part of what might get them a little agitated too, if they have to wait till 8 or 9 o'clock to eat. So if we make our schedule such that they're having their Sunday school classes, and then right afterwards they're getting served prasadam in those rooms, it'll take more time. It'll keep them more occupied. It'll keep their blood sugar stable, and then they'll come out for Arctique, etc. But what I think needs to happen for anything that we do decide is that we have to be a village. We have to be a village. So myself and Ananda Vrindavan and Sukeshri are in the process of actually making a little book. And the book will be something like My Visit to the Temple, How to Behave in Krishna's House. And it might take a little bit to get this actually in print, and we're getting illustrations and such. But I didn't want to wait for that to start happening to meet with you all, because I think that the first step is talking. So what I'd like to accomplish today is I'd like to get your input on what you think you see as maybe either problems or reasons for the kids being unruly. And then if we could all think about some possible solutions. I don't want this to come from me or us, or I think that your children, what motivates them. And I think that as a community, we should together come up with some ideas. And then if we're telling them these are the rules and you're telling them these are the rules, then, it'll sink in. We'll be like a united front. We're really about a month away from moving in. Realistically, we're thinking in March, the beginning of March. The month of February is going to be very, very filled with like putting in all the stuff is done now, all the structure, the plumbing, all that stuff's in there now. And then in February, it'll just be installing all the equipment. In fact, I was up there yesterday and they've already installed the walk-in refrigerator. That's another thing too. Imagine if a kid gets stuck in the anyway. It's not going to lock. You can push out, but it might take something to push out, and the doorknob is, I don't know. Anyway, kitchens are not for kids. There's knives in there and flames in there, and okay. So do anybody have any thoughts on this themselves?
Hare Krishna, Mataji. I just love the point where the kids are not allowed into the kitchen, and having the Dutch door, because if they want to see their parents who are probably inside the kitchen cooking, they will be able to see, but they just cannot walk in. Because it's going to be, if any door that is totally going to be open, it's going to be hard. We might find a volunteer for somebody to stand next to the door to not let kids go in. But the Dutch door idea seems to be very good, because then the kids can actually watch their parents inside, and they can call so the parents can come out, and then they can't even walk in. Yeah, that's a very nice idea. Thank you, Mataji.
Who?
Mataji, these points that you mentioned look good on, theoretically. But if you look at practically, if you have 2 classrooms also, and we have 3 to 4 age group of kids, right? And then we don't have sufficient, I don't know, everybody will fit into one room or but multiple rooms. And then are you going to keep them the whole time during the programs? What about the festivals? Are we going to keep them, festivals run for 6-7 hours sometimes. Are we going to keep them there the whole day, or go ask them to go out and play in the parking lot and stuff like that? Have you thought about any such things? Because if they play in the parking lot and they make noise and then the neighbors complain, what about that? Have you thought about all those stuff?
Yeah, that's absolutely, we've thought about it. That's really a good point. Well, that's where this meeting comes in, because what has to happen is there has to be a core group. There has to be any parent that wants to participate in the development of the kids in this group should also volunteer. And I think what's going to happen is that, we've given facility, but it's really up to the parents, especially at ISV. I mean, when we were young, we were very young, and we had all these kids, and we used to always go to the temple authorities and ask them, provide. And they'd say, it's your kids, it's up to you, it's your kids. And the thing that's different about this than then is actually at that point in time, we didn't have outside jobs. We were totally reliant on the temple. We didn't have incomes. We didn't have any really resource to do a whole lot outside of what the temple would give us because we were full-time devotees. Here especially, what I'd like to see, what I picture in a perfect world is that the parents become a really supportive part of this whole engaging the kids process. Now, there's a park, a very nice park, a large park with the toys and big fields of grass and all that, 1 block down from the temple. It's on Latham Street. So if you cross Latham Street, if you cross Eshuela, on the left side, there's this big playground. So on festival days, within a supervision, the kids could all go down there and they could actually play basketball or have relay races on the grass, whatever. So it's true. You're absolutely right. It can't all be on the Sunday school teachers. It's going to take organizing. It's going to take commitment. And it's going to take consciousness, because we're going to have to fight the urge to want to just go to the temple and get away from the kids for a while. Maybe, and if there's enough participation, you could probably do that 90% of the time. But 10% of the time, you're going to have to be the ones watching them. And honestly, my experience with that is that when you volunteer to watch them, then the wheels start turning what to do with them. And parents can be very creative, playing ball or, whatever it is that you can organize and get. But honestly, it's up to you. I think that what we've been talking about so far is Sundays, just when the programs are short. But it's really true when the programs go all day. And honestly, that jumpy thing, I don't know if I think it makes things worse. I think the kids get extremely hyper. I think the big kids are in there with the little kids, and it's dangerous. And last time we had that, some of the big kids were trying to break it. They were trying to puncture it. And if somebody did puncture it while everybody was in there, that could be dangerous. So I don't think, it's Krishna's arrangement. The kids are our challenge. They're our challenge. You can't just plant them here and walk away. It's like they're very aware and very alert and very active, and they need sweet little Radhika here last Sunday. Two of the parents, I'm not going to name names, but two of the parents were sitting right back there under the board, and this little sweetheart walked right in between them. Right, they were both sitting. She climbed on the bench. She grabbed the 3 markers and started scribbling on the floor. In here, last Sunday, in front of everybody. Nobody stopped. I just stood by the door watching how I couldn't believe it. She crawled right up in between. In fact, the 2 parents that were sitting there were talking to each other. So they were looking at each other. She came right up in between them. And it was as if she was a ghost. I didn't see a thing. And so I went over and I had to trick her out of the markers. And I thought, oh boy, So we have to all work together, and we have to all think about it, and we have to all do a little bit of the work. And then I think, there's so many parents, there should be able to, and I leave that up to the teachers. We talked about how many people you would need, and I think that the teachers will be able to determine how many parents need to volunteer at any one given time to keep all the kids happy.
There was one more point I had to suggestion, like for example, for Adhika's case only, because we both are sometimes involved in doing something, and sometimes we cannot look at her, and there could be other people similarly like that, or we will have new kids coming in, and we would like to, they would also like to be, either they will disturb the program or something. So we need to identify people for the day whom we can keep them and say, okay, you are responsible today or something like that, so that they can take care of the kids.
Yes, Prabhuji. So we're planning to have a kids care committee where every parent who visit the temple, don't have to be Sunday school kids. Every parent who visits the temple will be on the list. And this is not a voluntary thing, but only volunteer thing would be the day that they pick. If suppose you are already involved in cooking that Sunday, then if Puja Mataji is involved in cooking that Sunday, then that Sunday she wouldn't get a turn. So every parent would be on the list, and then we will send out the Excel sheet. So we're planning to have 4 parents for a particular Sunday. So they will not have any other service as such on that day. Their service would be to take care of the kids. So they could walk them to the park nearby. They could play with them in the temple room. They can have. We will give them all different kinds of ideas about what they could do. So we will come up with different activities. They will have an activity, sheets, or maybe sitting and coloring, or it could be a story. It could be just watching some Krishna video. So we will have all different kinds of activities already planned for them. The only thing is the parents who are involved in that particular for that particular Sunday will just come in and do the service. And I know that that many parents do have a service every Sunday doing something, and so we will have to work out on that. That they will have to. It will be like at least once a month they will get a turn, and in that once a month, if suppose somebody is always like. For your sake, Prabhuji, if you are involved in every Sunday doing Prasadam service, only that Sunday when you will be on the Kids Care Committee, we will have to excuse you out from that service and maybe have somebody else do that service. So we will have you on the Kids Care.
And one more thing is, we need to have somebody. You thought about Sunday, but even Wednesdays we have kids coming.
Oh,
in.
yeah.
And so Wednesday at least we need 1 or 2 people who can monitor. Saturdays we don't have any generally kids coming in, but Wednesdays we do have kids coming in.
It's for Sundays, Wednesdays, and festival days. For all
I guess
the days.
that in general, we don't have to iron out all the real specifics at this meeting, but in general, what it'll be is that every parent that's participating in having their kids go to the Sunday school, and those who are visiting, would basically be required to do some time. And I would imagine the time would be proportionate to the amount of involvement. Like if someone's just visiting the temple once in a while, they might not.
We have some kids who are not enrolled specifically in in Sunday school, but they come regularly to temple. Yeah. So I would probably mean them. If somebody is totally new, I probably won't include those parents. So everybody, and it's the thing is, it's not, like I said before, it's not just about,
it'll have an effect beyond just taking care of the kids. It's going to have an effect on developing this program. If all the parents start putting their heads together on this type of thing, then it expands the creativity, it expands the dimension of the children. So and we have to be thinking that way, because honestly, we're growing, and we're going to get bigger and bigger, and and the kids, it's just a couple years, and then they're already little adults. So now's the time to really take advantage of their learning capacity and their development and their enthusiasm to come to the temple and do service. Ruby?
Well, actually, it's not a solution, but I was thinking that, people are hearing. Well, I don't have small children, so maybe the parents of small children will be doing the work. But I'm wondering, are you going to put it in effect right from today? Do you have anyone who would be watching the kids today, so we can, the rest of us can enjoy the lecture Maharaj's lecture or any other Sunday at least is usually a problem. I guess the parents who do not have children think of that as a problem, but because the others have to provide the solution. So thank you if you could do something like that.
I think that Mataji's working on it. I don't know that we can do it starting today, but I mean the Sunday school teachers are doing it every Sunday. They are there. They are watching the kids, but they can't. They need the support of all the other parents. It's too much to expect for them by themselves to handle all the kids. So that's what we're starting to work today, and our goal is to have it something really solid in effect by the time we move. And the teachers are working hard right now to do what they can. But Anuradha, did you want to say something?
Yeah, I have one more question. When you're going to when we moved to the new temple, you told that they have some playground on the other side. So during the summertime and in winter time, it will be very hard to the people for going to the park and between especially when we have festival times like Janmashtami or any other thing. If people wants to go to park, I mean for the children, especially if children wants to go in, because when on that auspicious days time, we have a lot of programs and lectures and everything. So during that time, if the kids wants to, because kids will go in and out. So if the Sunday school teachers will still go, there is a park is there and you can play there. But one thing means if we're going to the park, some people will be having some troubles because a lot of sun and some kind of allergies or any other thing. That's what I was thinking. If it is that kind of problem is arised, how to solve it in between that way?
I think that anybody that has kids goes to the park. I mean, I've not yet heard of anybody saying they're not able to go to a park. In fact, the park is a big relief because it's really a safe place where kids can just run and get their energy, use up their energy. The kids have a hard time being confined for long periods of time. So it's really good for them. In fact, nowadays, because of all the budget cuts in the schools, when I was a kid, I don't know if any of you, we had John F. Kennedy started these rigorous exercise programs that went into all the schools. I went to Catholic school growing up, but public schools, Catholic schools, they all took part in this Kennedy program, and it was rigorous. You had to run laps. You had to do a certain many hours of gymnastics. It was required, and now they're kind of more and more cutting back, and now everybody's complaining of obesity, and the kids are all the time on the internet and on their phones and on. So I think that if anything, the parks and the activities where they move their bodies is all really good. I mean, they could even do something like a yoga class at the park, or Tai Chi, or anything, competitive relay races. When I was doing the little kids in the school, we would. When I was a kid growing up, we had a lot of little nursery rhyme kind of songs we would sing in the playgrounds, and I Krishnized all those songs so that we could do them with the kids and with Krishna lyrics, and the kids could run and play with a lot of those songs. And it's just a matter of you. The more the parents are involved, the more the creative juices flow. And the more, the better and better the programs get. But today was just like a beginning. It's just, okay, let's look at it, let's think about it, let's start to talk about it, and let's think of what we could come up with. Because if we plan on having restrictions at the new temple, right? If we have these restrictions in place and it turns into don't do this, don't do that, don't do this, don't do that, it won't be fun. The only way to avoid that is to have them do something, right? So it's instead of don't do this, it's okay, now it's time for this, now it's time for this, now it's time for this. Personally, I have experience when I joined on to the team of the nursery school teachers as the little kids in Los Angeles. It was interesting because what happened was we just bought a house, and they said, okay, You're going to use this as your nursery schoolhouse. And so the women got together, 4 or 5 of us, and we were going to watch the kids in this house. From my background where I grew up and stuff, everything was always well organized for kids and stuff. So I immediately started wanting to put things in place for the kids. And I got a lot of, hesitation by the parents who said, Prabhupada said until they're 5, they should just play. They should just play. Well, what that meant, you put 35 kids in a room and just let them play, all under 5 years old. Good luck with that. The kids were miserable. They were, half of them were crying, and it just didn't work like that, So it took convincing, and actually it was difficult because once you let that happen, which is why I say in the new place it'll be nice because it's a new environment, new rules. The kids will go in fresh and say, oh, this is what we have to do here. This is what we're allowed to do here. When I walked into that nursery and they gave it to me as a service, I had to change the behavior that was already going on there. And it took a while, but it was amazing the way after a while the program was so tight. The kids went from one activity to the next. Whether it was a puppet show, crafts, eating prasadam, laying down for a little bit of a nap. Because this was all day. They were there from the morning till, 4 or 5 in the afternoon. We had them all day. So once this program, it took about 6 months. The kids were happy and calm, and it got to the point where we didn't even have to tell them what to do. They went from one room to the next. They knew what was coming next. So, and they were happy. And so that's what we're talking about. I know that. I've seen it happen. We have to be on top of it. We have to put the programs in place to keep them happy, to keep them challenged, to keep them growing and learning. And then we have to be consistent in enforcing it. We have to be consistent. It might take a little bit of, the word discipline is tough, but it might take a little bit of that. But if we can put enough of the programs in place and we all work together, the kids will be really happy.
And one more thing, I would like to suggest, if it is correct or not, but I was thinking that we have so many Prabhupada lectures. So during that auspicious time, so we can show to the kids about some good things about how to develop their skills of how the Prabhupada has suggested some good things. So we can give to the kids those good points and showing to on the TV or any screen. So during that when the lecture is going on auspicious time, so kids can watch another instead of going out. I mean, just my suggestion, if we can give any Prabhupada lectures, interesting lectures to develop their skills and everything, so they can develop themselves to what to learn about that. So if we can keep that kind of things also, it is better. The kids can grow, kids can learn more things. Right. So what is the good, what is the bad, also they can know it. So listening to the Prabhupada lectures, nice lectures, or any other things, what you're going to the Los Angeles and you're having some kids, any kind of when the kids are ISV school, doing some kind of programs, showing to them that kind of things to even the kids also, they can learn, they can develop that kind of things. So we can learn this kind of things, so they can get some ideas to pick up about these things.
Yeah. My experience with lectures is you lose them if you just try playing a Prabhupada lecture. It wouldn't work. But you can take things from the lecture and put it on their level. When I started doing the nursery, what I learned first off was developmental growth. That was the first thing I made sure I knew about. If you could Google it and you could look into what the developmental stages of the kids and get an idea of what it is that they're challenged with at that in that age. Of course, it varies with the children. But you can get an idea of the development, and then you can apply whatever it is you're trying to teach them or get them to do a little bit on their level. Like kind of like if you give kids coloring books, the beginner books are a lot simpler than the more advanced books. Similar, but the point is not to today. it's already 4:00, and I think Maharaj is coming really soon, so don't have a lot of time. But today's meeting was more to present it, get the kind of ideas out there, and get everybody to start to think.
Yeah, I have a point. Actually, I have my little one, so he's 3-year-old. He doesn't sit in the class. So I feel like we have to make the programs little more interested, or for little ones, or even younger ones also. But like introducing more art projects or crafts. Even I do go to preschool with my son. They have, whoever volunteers, the parent volunteers, they have to do every week a special project. Maybe like parents have to decide what they have to do. Maybe we can do that kind of special projects. As Mataji told, we'll have more volunteers like to take care of the kids. That time we can allocate one parent to do special project on that week, so that they will be occupied and they won't disturb and they won't come out of the classroom.
That's what I'm talking about. That's excellent. That's what I'm talking about. So say you Mataji puts out the Excel spreadsheet and asks everybody to volunteer. The idea is not just put your name and forget about it. The idea is you put your name, you see how much time you're going to be there, and you think what you want to do, and you coordinate with the teacher on that day. You know what? I just discovered this great project. I think they would like it. Can I do this day? So everyone can bring something to the table for the kids.
Even parents will be like more interested to participate, and they will also get more ideas. Okay, what to do.
The only downside to that, which I would warn you on, is you really need to you need to know about child development, because what I've seen happen was sometimes a parent can get excited about a certain project and it doesn't.
Actually, I think I did child development courses even. So I did my main core courses. So based on that, I think we have to make parents know what kind of projects they have to do and what kind of crafts they can do it in the temple, or Mataji or Anand Vrindavan Mataji, they can tell parents. And we have a craft teacher as Bhavani Mataji, so we can take their advices and we can do that projects also with the students by dividing like age, according to their age groups.
That's excellent. That's really excellent. I have and also too, I'll help you too with the things we used to do. I still remember a lot of the crafts we used to do. So.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. I was just going to quickly say, I know we don't have much time, but I was just thinking that we're going to soon form the Kids Care Committee part, and I was also going to suggest that, since the Sunday school staff is already doing this service, so I was wondering that if we have parents be the managers for every 3 months. So we need 3 parents. They will be managers of the Kids Care Committee who will make the Excel sheet and give them services for the whole 3 months. And then again for another 3 months, there can be another set of 3 parents. So everybody will get a turn to be able to take care of the whole thing. And I like the point what Padma Mataji mentioned. So I was wondering that it will be helpful for any parent to come and suggest about what would be the best for the kids, because our Sunday school doesn't start until 3 years. The kids should be 3 and above. So for kids who are younger than that, if there's something that's going to be helpful, if that's going to be better, it'll work better. So, and even for kids who are older, if there is something that they would like to see, I mean, we just need their input, and so we can implement it better.
So I think one place to start is to get a database of parents. So anybody who feels like they are interested in working together on this, I think that maybe, did you want to keep the...
Yeah, I was just going to ask that can we have the first set of 3 parents who would love to volunteer to be the manager?
I'm not clear from what you said what the responsibility of those 3 parents would be.
The responsibility is going to be that they decide about, I mean, it doesn't have to be 3, it can even be 2 parents, but they are not going to be the only ones who are going to take care of the kids. But they are the ones who will make the Excel sheet. They are the ones who will say that these are the parents who are going to take care of for this Sunday. and then, they will consult with the parents to see if they are already not taken up some other service on that Sunday or the festival day. So it's going to be only a 3 months chunk.
If I could suggest,
Sure.
maybe you should start it.
Okay.
And that way when you do it a couple of months, then you can turn it over to somebody.
Okay.
You'll know what works. You'll know how many parents you need, and you'll be able to show them what you've been doing. Because to ask for a volunteer for a program that hasn't yet begun.
No, I mean, we will be there. We will be part of it.
Mm-hmm.
We will always be part of it. It's just that we need more
You want
hands
someone
into it.
to monitor the Excel sheet.
Exactly, and to see that it's happening. So that way, I mean, as you said, maybe for the first 3 months, we've already been doing Mika, Meshwari, and Anda Mataji, so we can do it. But we want somebody to shadow, so they will know what to do the next 3 months. So the next 3 months, the next set of 3 parents or 2 parents will actually shadow these 2 parents, so they'll know what's happening. So we will be able to continue. So that, in a long run, when I see that, when we are trying to increase the number of classes we have and things like that, Sunday school staff is already having a lot of things that they're doing. So it'll be nice for all the parents to take up and continue the Kids Care Committee.
That sounds like a really good plan. I would also suggest that, Mataji, since you have child development background, what might be good to do, not to specifically make a list of real specific projects, but for instance, you could say age 1 to 3. Oh no, you just start at 3. So 3 to 5, you can list maybe clay, simple draw. You could list the types of things that are good to engage the kids at the different age levels, just in general. And then the parents can take that list and maybe if they are so inclined, come up with a project within the scope of that list.
Sure, Mataji. Yeah.
Yes, Prabhu.
Mataji, so at various other ISKCON centers, especially, someone equivalent or bigger than us in terms of size, what is it that they do, which maybe we can, because ideally, it is very nice to have, but kids have an urge to run around. And I have seen it as a parent of 2 that even, one of them runs out, like I try to make a rule for bhajans, you have to be in the temple. But out of 15, if 2 of them go out, the little one says, he's out, I want to go too. Now, all said and done, that's something very practical. And, implementing these things is easier said than done. I fully appreciate and understand the importance of implemented. But, so what are some of the things that, more successful temples in this field do? Any suggestions, thoughts?
Well, recently, Nirkula Mataji spoke with Malati about, my god sister Malati about it. And I did not get a lot of the detail about which temple she was talking about. But Malati explained to Nirkula that she had great success in turning it around in one temple where the kids are very unruly by slowly starting with the parents, which is basically what we're doing here, and then including the children, including having more meetings, including the children in the meetings, and having the children actually themselves come up with ways to improve their own behavior. And she found it very successful. My experience in a lot of temples is that the kids go wild. I don't know of a lot of temples that I can point to and say, oh, this temple, they have a really great program for their little ones. I don't know of any really good programs. I know my god sister Sangeeta for many, many years worked on and I think these teachers are using the curriculum that she wrote in Philadelphia. And that's within that classroom. But once they leave the classroom, I don't know of any temple that has a program. I think that we would be cutting edge on this, as we are in so many other ways. And my idea is it begins with talking to them, right? So they start hearing the way you want them to be. They start hearing what Krishna wants. I know you'd like to run, but it makes Krishna happy. This makes Krishna happy. This makes Krishna happy. And I think that, it can sink in over time. I've seen it turn around. Along with that, we have to have engagement. The more the parents get involved, the more creative and engagement you come up with, that's the answer. I mean, if you have enough parents that you each take an hour and you do it for however many hours the kids are going to be at the temple, they'll have something to do all the time. And even if they don't, they're not all going to want to participate in everything all the time, but it's going to make a big difference than having 20 kids all together getting all excited and running around. Anuradha?
I have one more thing. And kids can learn how to make the flowers also during any time. They can bring their own small Ladu Gopal and they can do the garland. They can learn the garlands also. So at least that kind of service kids can involve in.
Yeah, the kids can make garlands. The older kids can also be engaged in engaging the younger kids. It's all up to you. Basically, what I'm putting out today is for you to meet together, for you to think about it, for you to work with the Sunday school teachers and find out how many parents are needed, because I don't even have a clear idea of how many kids are there at each grade level. And then it'll start developing. A nice program will start developing, because there is no one to rely on to do this but each other. There's nobody going to take your kids and say, okay, we're responsible for all the kids and you go and just do the other service and we'll watch your kid. That's just not able to happen. The teachers can only do so much, and as the kids get bigger, they need more challenge, they need more to do. Jai Maharaj. Hi Krishna. We're having a class on child behavior. No. I'm trying to draw it out. Facilitating it. We're preparing for our new temple. So we have to put rules in place, and we're trying to come up with a way to have the parents get more involved in engaging the kids so that it's not just a temple of a bunch of rules.
The Catholic Church has a book on building temples. I've been writing it for a long time. And the name of the book is called Built with Living Stones.
For kids?
No, for the whole church. Just the idea that a church is not a...
Well, what we're zeroing in on today is how to get the kids to behave better and not lose their taste. Like, we don't want to be... Yeah. So, yeah.
The Sunday class was around from 4 to 5:30. The Sunday East lecture was around from 4 to 5:30.
Yeah, so we're ready to... I'm out of here.
Thank you. In case I was...
No, I know. Okay, so that's about it for today. But if you could all start thinking about it and begin by giving your contact information, so we could have a database, and start thinking about the kids, what you see happening, what you think might help. Everybody has something to give to helping them.
There will be a seminar coming, Great Smart Krishna Peace, by the expert, which is
From who?
Raman Prabhu and Arudha Mataji. They will be coming on February.
Who Prabhu? I didn't hear.
Arudha Mataji from Boise, and her son, he's the PhD from Oxford. He was homeschooled, and so they will be give a flyer to her.
Okay.
So I think we can also bring our issues to her and get some input how you can collaborate in developing the child behavior. So that could be a better rule when you move to the new temple. Just for your information.
Okay. All right, well, thank you all very much, and I hope you don't mind. I want to have another couple of sessions like this and ultimately include the kids on it, and then we'll come up with some really good... if we let you know the rules that we're trying to accomplish, then you can explain them to the kids and also at the same time be working on engaging them. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.